Welcome to Founders Marketing Compass. Each episode explores the challenges startup founders face in managing their marketing teams. We cover everything from setting the right KPI to analyzing customer acquisition costs and aligning with long-term strategies. My name is Etgar Shpivak. With my experience as a co-founder and as a marketer, I'm interviewing founders and investors to learn how to build healthy, lasting relationships between startup founders and their marketing team before we dive into our questions. I would love to introduce Kadion Preston, the co-founder of Carib Shopper. Kadion, thank you so much for coming here.
You're welcome, Edgar. It's a pleasure of mine to be on your show. We've known each other for a good while now, all the years well.
Yes.
And I just really appreciate the time to be on the show, especially since you're one of the marketing geniuses of this world. And definitely humbled to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much for those warm words. Happy to learn a bit more about you and about your journey.
Hi, my name is Kadion Preston. I'm the CEO of Carib Shopper. Carib Shopper is a company that's making caravan made accessible for businesses and consumers. We're currently in the US and Canada today, but we're expanding to the UK. I've been Canadian, Jamaican, born and raised. Finding your caravan products internationally is a challenge. Our market is extremely fragmented, and we're focused around making this market streamlined and accessible for students and businesses, as I said before. And so, my journey started from seeing my mom as an entrepreneur grow her own business in Jamaica, and she started manufacturing children's clothes in the 80s, and seeing the ups and downs of that business and the triumphs certainly gave me the impetus to want to be an entrepreneur, and definitely ignited that fire in me. And fast forward 20 something years later, see that the same challenges my mom faced in 1986 and onwards is the same challenges that exist today for Caribbean manufacturers, in over 16 different countries, in scaling their products to consumers that they were really from what a problem that my grandfather sought to solve.
I will say that I personally seeing your incredible process, and I think that what you're building is not only a good business, but an important one from the people in Jamaica and for the people in the US and Canada who want to consume those products.
Absolutely. I think accessing culture in the world that we live today, where we are all over the place. We have migrated from many different territories as people. We have traveled, we've settled in different places. Being able to access your culture, being able to impart that culture no matter where you are is important as humans. And I think that it's very important to me ever since I became a father. And I'm sure it's very important to a lot of families who have settled in different countries to be able to impart their culture and way of life in these in different arenas and then areas of life that we're all expanded to. And in a world that's fully diverse, it's very important.
Just love it. So let's try to dive into our questions and
Sure.
to see how we can focus on this very complex relationship between founders and their marketing team. I will say, you the CEO, you the one who called the shots. How do you set the KPI for your marketing team? When it comes to them, what do you demand from them?
Well, let's set the KPIs for our marketing team. As a CEO, I look at different areas, whether it is at the beginning, all about customer acquisition, understanding the customer journey. It is, figuring out the why of our customers. Why did they do this? in order to take that information, how we use that information to acquire more customers in the future is critical. So understanding the data became very critical in early days. The why, and I think
And
once we started figuring out, that was probably the number one KPI uh, in our threshold, because when we started, we did the US market first, figuring out why, figuring out or over how we can be more aligned, market fit, building a product gives you the first iteration of what you're doing towards solving a problem, and then taking that product and figuring out how you get it as close as possible to market fit, and eventually every funnel is work to get to product market fit, your different stages of your marketing. So in the early days, it was strictly customer acquisition, and then of course getting the marketing team to figure out how we retain these customers. And that's not just a job of the marketing team. The marketing team has one part of the job. A marketing team can only be successful is that the infrastructure and the team behind you providing the service and the experience that allows the marketer to be successful. So in the early days, our KPIs were around all of the key points for us to track on acquisition. Today, it's a lot around retention. It's a lot around the experience. It's a lot around making sure that we are mutually aligned in the in what simple working for possible, and making sure that aligns with what's important with our business today.
I love this connection between having these budgets, but they also want you to heavily focus on the why questions. I'm a fan of this. So
Nice.
as the founders, we go to our investors, to our shareholders, and we give them this very nice long-term go-to-market strategy. And you're there, I've been there a few times. And how do you communicate to the internal team those long-term strategies? Because you coming to your marketing team and you tell them, I want this and this CPA, I want to make, I need cut. You come into your marketing team and you tell them, I need this CPA in this scale eventually. But what you're seeing as a co-founder, you're seeing a bigger picture, you're seeing the bigger vision. How do you communicate it to your team to make sure that they understand why they are doing what they're doing?
Well, again, in the early days, it's about, communicating the vision. And once you communicate the vision clearly and constantly communicate the vision, you're going to go through multiples of iterations of that vision as you get signs from the market, as you start to see your market fit. And that requires you to have a very close relationship as a founder with your marketing team. I mean, you end up being like one of the staff members, reiterating the vision, reiterating the challenge, understanding the metrics that they're receiving, looking at the data, being open enough to understand the areas that you have to tweak, the areas that you have to improve on, areas that you have to definitely necessary changes along the way in order to your marketing team and your overall team at the greatest chance, because everybody's in the mission, and in the early days you're figuring it out what's going to work. Today marketing is so many things. I think marketing on a whole is probably one of the hardest positions in a company. Whether you have a good product or a product that's becoming a good product, it's still hard because you're figuring out what works. And it's easy for anybody to say, let me do a bunch of paid ads, but it's not easy because you got to figure out how these ads and everything, that all of the stuff that you're doing converts, what's working best, iterate quickly. It's a lot of guessing in the beginning. It's a lot of figuring it out, and then figuring it out, you're gonna see the costs associated And based on your content and based on your finances, how does this work in your flywheel in order to be a successful company?
So, how do you measure all the effectiveness of your marketing team?
So how do I measure the effectiveness of my marketing team? My measure of a marketing team, truthfully, in the early days, you're going to be banging your head against the wall, right? Figuring out what's working. It's the marketing team or marketing lead that is really diving in, being a part of the whole customer discovery process, talking to the customer, figuring out from the customer where we could be best. It's the person that takes a streamlined hustle mentality in the beginning, because you can't. Everybody wants to build a big business, and you got to start somewhere. But in starting somewhere, you have to keep the essence of starting in their thesis, right? And inspiring. You're so many times come podcasts and everywhere. Talk to your boss or talk to your boss. Place really, really worth you talk to your boss. Because what you believe is the way that they want this problem solved. They might want it a different way. And that communication, that understanding, talking across multiple types of customers that you get as soon as you get them is definitely the founder's job. It's definitely your marketing. People start a marketing team award to be them and grow some bigger team. It's definitely part of that. It's definitely part of your customer is what it is, how we solving your problem, and how to you can have that. And getting to that, consider leaking out, understanding that requires a marketing team that's been necklace for all of us. So figuring out the why.
I love it that you always go back to this why. I personally know how important that is. And we live in a world that the creative in your messaging are more and more important in one hand. And in the other hand, you have your your strategic direction. How do you balance between this strategic, very long-term vision into this day-to-day creative messages, the freedom to create when we're seeing people going with super simple TikTok ads that delivers and works? How do you make those alignments?
It definitely makes it's definitely what works. I remember early days we had a great designer design the UX UI for our platform, and was very strong there, but they were focused on design. And I think once for email and eventually text communication, we found that simple on the email, less design on the email, more straightforward text worked. You know what I mean? And then you play with different things, whether you're doing ad creative or you're doing videos or you're doing various other forms of marketing. In some cases, simple works best. In some cases, image works best. In some platforms, it's just different. It's just different, and it's really comes down to understanding your audience. Like, who is your audience? Like, how they like to be communicated. Test. You have an idea of a campaign or a strategy. Sometimes you have to do 3 iterations on it and maybe test all of them and see which one really resonates the best.
Cut.
I'll show you one of our ads that we have iterated on probably about 40, 50 times to where we believe we've gotten it right. And I'll share with you as a viewer that I think our marketing team did a great job on it, because it hits the over time. We figured out what was the key driver, key word, key feeling, key emotion that we had to pull from this ad in order to grab people's attention, because that's the hardest thing for marketing teams today.
what is the one mistake that you see other founders commonly doing when working with their marketing team?
They're expecting their marketing team to have a silver bullet and execute in isolation and do everything without their input and a collective input from the team, especially early stage companies. For later stage companies, there'll be so much data accumulated for marketing teams that they're able to work less cross-functioning. But in a startup, you're going to need to be very cross-functional. You're going to be needing to talk to different teams in order to pull, what's seasonal, the packing teams, what's selling the most, and looking at the data, but trying to understand the reasoning behind it as we talk about the why, and really pull in on the strategy. I think founders need to work very closely with their marketing teams. Those calls should be, if not daily, or sit downs and talk about what you found and what they're seeing, the changes that need to be made. It should be quite often enough that everybody's aligned on the process of the strategy. I think founders make the mistake all the time in thinking that they'll hire a great marketer, and a great marketer will be the silver bullet to their business. It doesn't work like that. There's no silver bullet.
When you're hiring for your marketing team, what are the top 3 qualities that you, as a startup founders, looks when you hire marketers?
For me, as a startup founder, and that's very key here, startup founder, I'm looking for a marketer who understands the process of what it takes to bring a product into market and then make it a product market ready and market fit, and be comfortable with us not having it all together, but ferocious enough and bold enough to be comfortable with where it's going. You see, I don't know if I was clear in that answer, but sometimes, and I'm learned from, sometimes the marketing team is ahead of the product. But when you look at it, the team will catch up with the progress necessary with goals that this is a call to action for the consumer, and will step out there boldly and claims, right? Now, I remember when I working with French, and they said it's okay to get an RSVP from the custom. It's okay, right? It's okay to let a customer, to grab a customer's attention with it's coming. And that was my radar. A very something that I struggled with. Like, if we haven't probably done 100%, let's not talk about it. But this marketer showed me how to hold, and also to leverage a sanity, keeping on engaged. Sometimes those were on RVP.
I just love this question, this answer. I will ask you the last 3 questions, and not directly related to marketer, but mainly because you're incredible founder, and I see you as a very inspiring founder and more of a friend. And for the other founders who will listen to this podcast, what is the common misconception about running a startup you would like to debunk?
There's so many misconceptions. I think the biggest misconception is expecting reward early. A lot of founders coming to the game, and they start to build product, or they're building a solution and solving a problem, and they expect to be rewarded sooner than they should be rewarded. They figure that their reward comes from raising capital, the reward comes from partnerships. The truth is, your reward as a founder comes in the success of the business. And like any other leader in any other situation, true leaders eat last. And in eating last, that means you have to suffer through some pain. You have to make sure that your team is fed. You have to make sure that your product is fed. And the first person to make a sacrifice is going to be you as a founder. And I think that needs to be critically clear, because we went through a time 2018, 2019, 2020, when founders were putting those, historic raises, big moves, and a lot of sizzle, but no substance. A lot of sizzle, no substance. And well, people coming up. So on this headline, the thought was, it's great. It's going to be great to be a founder. But if this is not truly what you want, or you're not truly committed to, to your mission, being a founder is a very, very hard thing. And you have to understand to your, and that means what your measure of success is something that you're going to have to be willing to sacrifice.
So if I go back to 2018, 2017, when you started with Carib Shopper, and I would ask you if you could give yourself one advice on the beginning of this journey, what would it be?
Yeah, it's going to always be this, right? It's going to always be this. Is make the hard decision sooner. Make the hard decision sooner. As founders, we get indications, right? If something's not working, if somebody's not the right fit, if even your business model is not the right fit. Because when we met, my business model was totally different from what it is today. And I think it took up until 2019 for us to make a complete pivot. That was a hard decision. But if I was going to be honest with you and everybody else listening, I think 2018, by the end of 2018, I knew it was the wrong business model. I knew the business model was a challenge. So the big thing about it is, as a founder, you have to be optimistic, but you have to take some time to take a look at that optimism and see what the reality is telling you. And the sooner you make decisions, especially the hard ones, it's the sooner you get clarity. And I've seen it. I've made that mistake with team. I've made that mistake where you find the excuses because the marketer isn't working out, but you like them, you grow them, keep over them, and you're hoping that they turn around. I mean, you don't have an infinite time of making something work, and you have to be swift, and you have to measure it. No, not me. I'm not saying that a founder, if he feels like somebody should be gone or change, or pivot their business, they should do. Of course, think deeply on it. But you're gonna get to a point where you know it's the right decision, and you're gonna delay that decision, like most founders do, right? Because you think about just, wow, I'm gonna have to start this over. I'm gonna have to start looking for somebody new. I'm gonna have to start, and all of those things. Once you start thinking about, I'm gonna have to start over, I have to start this, asking, you should be at this, because that is my decision. It's on my own self. I'm saying need to make hard decisions.
Couldn't agree more on this. And the last question from this interview is, what is the question that I needed to ask you, but I didn't?
What is the question that you needed to ask me and that you didn't? Do I have the right marketing team today? I honestly think, and in different stages of your business, you need different skill sets. And I think today, we're still at the stage of the business that we are. I think we're looking for the right person today. We are in search for the right person for the stage of the business. And that's me as a founder, because as you've gotten more experience, you will understand what personality, what skill set is needed, where you are in your stage of growth, and if that person that's in that position is able to provide that. Again, for me, I think we are at the point where we need a different skill set and at the table for our working.
Kadion, thank you so much. I had a great time. I think it was inspiring, and some of your answers, I was personally chilled with your honest. I felt lots of goosebumps because I understand your journey. I know how this can be useful for so many entrepreneurs. Thank you so much.